What's up, guys? Do you guys want to learn more about why Kawhi Leonard is on minute restrictions? We're going to talk about that and his history of knee injuries. My name is Dr. Marco Lopez, Doctor of Physical Therapy and Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist and co-founder of the Basketball Doctors. So why is Kawhi Leonard being limited in his minutes? So this all goes back to his previous injury history. So it goes back to his days with the Spurs. So when he was with the Spurs, he was dealing with some quadriceps tendinopathy, which is tendinopathy, jumper's knee, but of the quadriceps tendon. So right above, not in the patellar tendon, but above it. So when you have that injury, sometimes you have to take some games off, manage your load because you're constantly flaring up that tendon. So fast forward in 2021, he then tore his ACL. Then after that, when he got back in the playoffs, he tore his meniscus. So now in the beginning of the season, he was off for the first month or two, and he's now slowly ramping it up. The biggest thing is when you have these injuries, overall your knee, sometimes you have to manage the load because you're looking at the long-term health of your knee as opposed to short-term. So let's talk about load management short-term before we go into long-term. So short-term, the big thing with Kawhi is because of his injury history, the trauma, he probably has some early onset of arthritis as well. When you have this issue in your knee, some days you're gonna have good days, other days you're gonna have bad days with your knee. And the big thing is you really wanna make sure that the knee is in a calmed environment. So sometimes when you have a heavy training load day or he plays more minutes, the next day his knee might swell up or become sore. That means he has to rest it up a little bit. So you're always kind of fighting this to try to get equilibrium and reestablish homeostasis in the knee. So whenever we're doing that in the short term, it's gonna involve some days that we manage his load. We're meaning like he's only gonna do 10 minutes because we know 2 days ago when he played 15 minutes, his knee swelled up. So this is all important factors that he needs to manage, and his team have to use all this information to decide on how quickly we could ramp him up, or do we keep him at this steady state. The big thing is making sure that his knee, when he starts playing, doesn't flare up, have any inflammation or irritation or increased soreness more than the usual. So now that we talked about the short-term effects of load management, we've got to go into the long-term. So long-term, specifically in his career right now, we want to make sure he's managing his load, one, so he could play out throughout his entire contract, so he can play this season, the following season, but also we want to make sure that his knee is not being too inflamed, and then that's going to lead to too much pressure on the opposite leg and lead to another injury. So that's another benefit of this long-term load management, because we're going to allow that knee to reestablish homeostasis, and now he's going to be equally putting weight on both sides, pushing off, because when he's not using that right leg, his left leg now is going to be overloaded and predisposing him to any injuries there. Also, we got to think about his career after basketball, because if he's constantly playing with his knee inflamed and he's not managing his load, his knee is going to be predisposed to early arthritis, and these arthritic changes are going to potentially lead him to have a knee replacement early on. So that's why load management is key to finish his season, the following season, and have a successful life after the NBA. If you guys want to learn more about Kawhi Leonard's injuries, specifically like the ACL or quadriceps tendinopathy or the meniscus tear, comment below. We'll make a separate video on that. And if you guys have any questions on load management, comment. We'll try to answer the question as much as we can. We are the Basketball Doctors. Let's ball for life.